Hi, Paul Sakis, Good News Planet. I'm speaking to Erica Mather. Hi, Erica. How are
Rather.
Mather? And you Mather. I'll tell you that. And Erica Mathers because she's going to give us some real knowledge here. She's a real yogi, as well as your body, your best friend, and an ultimate guide to how to feel amazing in your own skin. And you created a book. Am I right here so far?
Yes, I wrote a book. Would you like to see it?
Ah, come on. You really got it there?
I
Okay,
got
hold
it
it up.
here.
Let me see here. What does it say? Your body, your best friend. Uh, Read the bottom to me because I can't see too well.
It says, end the confidence crushing pursuit of unrealistic beauty standards and embrace your true power. It's a real keynote powerhouse there, or keyword powerhouse.
Okay, and to embrace your own mind, body, and green writer. Your the embrace. Is this a woman's book, a men's book, a human being book?
I mean, yes, all of the above. I mean, when you write a book, you have to identify a target audience, and the target audience is women. So it is written to women. So the voice is as if I'm addressing women. But I have had many men read this book and say, I enjoyed this book. There was a lot in it for me. So it is a book for humans. And I would encourage men to read it if they are interested in making friends with their own bodies. But also, if there happen to be women in their lives, which I imagine there's at least one, your mother, and you might be interested in how she relates to her body because she's going to get older. And chances are that if she doesn't do this relating very well, the aging process will be painful in ways that it could be less painful if people took care of themselves in a particular way.
So let's discuss that because that's very, very wise and very kind of you to think on that way, and to help others in that way. Especially, let's say the an older and or younger. I mean, I have tremendous body concerns, body look concerns. I go up 30, I go down 30, blah blah blah, blah. And I need to go down 30, if not 40, right now. So, and my body image probably is one of the number one things that is of concern to me by far. And now, as I get older, and it's pain, my foot's in a brace right now because I'm
Oh,
too heavy, and be heavy is not good.
yeah.
So give us some of the things we can learn in the book because you're on it to a real. First of all, you're a yogi, and is that right?
Yeah, I'm a yogi. I'm a yoga therapist. So, what I do is I help people feel better in and about their bodies. My clientele in New York City is mostly people who are injured or ill or aging or trying to figure out how to make a better relationship with their body because they're starting to understand some of these ramifications that of course become more apparent to you in stark detail as you get older than, I don't know, 30. um, so so what I do is help people make relationships with their bodies that are sustainable over time, that are kind, that are considerate of a body's real needs. And then the other piece that I do is I help people how they think about their bodies. For instance, this term body image I think is very nebulous. Like, what is that? What is body image? And the way that I define it is the body image is the way that you conceptualize your body and the relationship that you make with it that then you project out into the world, right? So image says projection, there's something visual going on, but it's also about this relationship. So you just said, here's my problem. I need to lose 40 pounds. I'm in a brace. It's not good on my ankle. So part of it's not even just like about weight, but it's also about how do you treat that ankle? How are you creating support for the ankle? How are you creating support for the foot? And a lot of this is what I teach people how to do, like in yoga, through movement, because um, your body exists in the world, experiences the world through movement. And so, if you want to have a better relationship with the body, you will need to relate to it through movement. And that movement can be helpful and supportive, or that movement can be destructive and painful.
Uh-huh. Give me some examples of some of the chapters, how you broke down this body thoughts.
Yeah, so the book is in 7 chapters, and the chapters sort of move through common misconceptions that women really glom onto, anchor onto, that produce a lot of uh, suffering and misunderstanding around the body. So the first 4 chapters are kind of esoteric in a particular way. So the first chapter is called Disarm the Happiness Trap. And this is that women in particular will stake their happiness or their perceived experience of happiness or the happy outcomes they expect to experience on how their body looks and how their faces look. So the first chapter is like, let's talk about this. The second chapter is called The Grass is Never Greener. And it's talking about competition, comparison, judgment, and envy, which are things that women do to one another a lot. I'm sure men do too, but I'm an expert in women. And so it talks about how these 4 horsemen, if you want to call them that, the 4 horsemen are the instigators of suffering and delusion. And that if you stop doing these things, it will create better outcomes in your life, specifically related to your body, because women compare around their bodies and then are envious and judgmental. The third chapter is called, what is it called?
Well, I'm not sure at this moment.
I don't know. What is it called? It's called Turn Poison into Good Medicine.
That's what I thought it was. It was on the tip
I
of my tongue.
know. You were like, yes. This particular chapter is I know. How could that possibly have slipped your mind? This chapter is about perfection.
A lot slips my mind. I got a mindless mind.
Oh, I lose my mind all the time. It's the greatest thing. I love losing my mind. It's so freeing, right? But
maybe that's the solution to everything.
Just lose your mind. I mean, sometimes I think people who have lost their mind are much happier. But anyway, back to the chapter. Turn Poison into Good Medicine. It's about perfectionism and how women are very involved in the process of perfectionism. And I point out that perfectionism is a zero-sum game. You'll never win it. And usually people lose their mind trying to do it. So for instance, the queen in Sleeping Beauty, mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? And this poison apple, right? So she, over perfectionism, she loses her morality. Murder is okay, right? So it's really, I'm trying to spell out what is the cost of this project, and it's high. It may cost you your humanity, actually. Then the 4th chapter is called Tame the Spin Doctor, and it's about how we think about good and bad, and the infinite shades of gray between those poles. Oftentimes you think, I'm 40 pounds heavier, that is a bad thing. But the minute you start thinking about it in such black and white terms, you actually are kind of narrowing out possibilities for understanding the ramifications of being 40 pounds heavier. And women are very, very anchored on this. Thin is good, fat is bad, end of story. And that kind of black and white thinking is never productive. It is always a trap. So this is the first 4. It's like, let's talk about these erroneous thought processes, these erroneous mindsets or beliefs, if you will, that cause a lot of suffering around our bodies. And let's talk about reframing them in ways that are constructive, compassionate, helpful, tolerant, freeing. Let's reframe these, because these sorts of thought patterns never lead anywhere good. If they did, we'd all be thin and happy and whatever, but we're just not. So this stuff doesn't work. Should I keep going?
Yeah, why not? It's the same price, right?
3 more chapters. There's 3 more chapters.
Okay.
So chapter 5 is like a pivot point in the book, where it's like we've sort of done all this heavy lifting around all these crappy mindsets. And then chapter 5 really talks about what it is to be embodied. And embodied basically means collecting all of the parts of yourself and integrating them in your body and living your life from a physical experience. How could you do anything else? You'd be surprised. Dissociation is a great way to not be embodied. OCD makes people not embodied. So it talks about like, what does it mean to be embodied? And then chapters 6 and 7 are kind of like, let's get to know the thing we call you, the thing that you call yourself that lives inside your body, because all of it is in you. Let's get to know this entity on its own terms and take care of it. Essentially, this is kind of like a self-care book. It's like a roadmap to how to take care of the thing that you call you. And so chapter 6 and chapter 7 parse the pieces of you into 5 pieces and deal with them incrementally. And
Give me
then,
one, give me a piece. Give me one of the 5 pieces,
well, I'm going to
please.
give them all to you because it won't take long. And the first piece will seem redundant. So I'm a yogi. Yeah, we talked about that. But
I'm a yogi too.
oh, hi, yogi.
I'm,
But I'm a yoga therapist, and the way that yogis think about the human being is that the human being is composed of like 5 key parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's six in the heart behind you. There's 6 layers. So we could take the heart kind of as a diagram for this, and that outermost layer is this. It's the food body, right? And then the next layer in, like that lavender part, is the next layer in is what we call the energy body. And the energy body is the part of you that makes your heart pump. It's the part of you that makes your digestion move. It's the part of you that runs your nervous system, that sort of that electricity of the nervous system. That's the energy body. And then the next layer in is called the mind body. And the mind body, so like the yellow layer would be the mind body. And the mind body is basically your senses. It's your senses as they are pumped out through your body. So it's sight, hearing, smell, taste, sound. And then I like to think of those as like the basic 5. And then I think there's like some superpower mind body. And I would call those things like prescience, like knowledge of the future, or empathy is another sensory experience that is kind of extra. Then the next layer in, so like that orange circle, I think I skipped one. Oh, I missed the green. But anyway, you get the idea. So the next layer in is what the yogis call the intellect body. It's the part of you that thinks. It's the part of you that says, that's good, this is bad. It's the part of you that governs your ethics and decides what to do. And then the final layer in, the yogis often call the bliss body. And the bliss body is the part of you that is connected to all things, all things. And so the roadmap for taking care of each part of these is to discover what sort of nutrition they like. Let's take the bliss body. The easiest way to assess the health of your bliss body is to discover how much joy you experience in your life and what you like to do for fun. This is basically what the bliss body, it's nutrition. It's bliss body food is joy and fun, right? It's the thing that kind of sparkles you up. It's the thing that makes a person light up the room when they walk in. You're like, that person's bliss body is fed.
For me, it's the 40 extra pounds.
It might be your 40 extra pounds. Who knows?
Oh, I do know. I love fun. I love party, and I'm the president of the class. I'm all about party. I'm a musician. I got parties a lot. I love life, and I love to eat.
So this is interesting, right? This is interesting. If your bliss body is fed by that sort of joy, and then another part of you is suffering, like that's a very interesting like conundrum, right?
It is a conundrum. So I'm going to ask you how, with my conundrum, which I think is not everybody, you know, everybody probably got a little of this conundrum. Okay, so I've always said that I eat when I'm happy and I eat when I'm sad. So what does it, are you know, more difficult situations or happier situations, positive situations? I have never been, well, to stay on course, to stay like happy medium. It's just, in Yiddish, we call it begor begornish. You're either this way, you're that way, but you know, okay, so Om, Shanti Om, and all these things. I am certified yoga instructor. So, and I'm spiritual minister. Okay, so I believe in all the things you're speaking about. Okay, for many, many, many years, I'm doing this stuff. So how do we take that joy, that blissfulness, because there is some pain to blissfulness. If you're partying all the time, there's something's going to give somewhere. And if you're miserable all the time, something's going to give somewhere. How do we get to equilibrium in your thinking?
Hit me with your best shot. Why don't you hit me with your best shot?
Well, see, I like who sang that? That was Bondi or
No, no, no.
Fleetwood
That's
Mac or
no, that's
Tracy Slick?
no. It's not Joan Jett.
Oh, Joan Jett. No, yeah,
Is
no,
it Joan Jett?
I think
No.
it is. Hit me with your best shot.
You got the street dancing. Hit me with your best
Yeah,
shot.
no, I love that song. Hit me with the best shot.
You're gonna ask Google?
Why
Siri,
not?
who sang Hit Me With Your Best Shot?
Pat Benatar.
There we go. Pat Benatar. Yeah.
Oh, we got to. All right, you got to listen to this ad
Gotta
thing.
listen to the ad before we do this.
Oh, I hate that stuff. But it's part of. It's okay. They deserve to be be. Okay, since I. But let's. Oh,
I'm not trying to deflect from the question. I was just like,
uh, oh. See, this is good. We just got to get the hit me with the best shot, and then we're going to cut it because they'll probably take me
coming
off
right
the air.
now. Coming right now.
All right, Pat.
Why don't you hit me with your
Yeah,
best
so you got it. Okay,
Okay.
so yes.
Okay. Yes, life goes in cycles. It goes in cycles. You go through joy, you go through pain. You can't be on one side or the other all the time. Certain people have dispositions, but I would say that if the thing that brings you joy also brings you pain, just maybe look at that a little closer. Because the things that take you towards your authentic joy, towards your authentic bliss, don't also bring pain. They just don't. That's what I think.
You've made a
So
nice thought here.
I would dig down, and it's like it's not the food that you enjoy, it's the company, it's the party. The food is kind of the accoutrement, right? It's the people, it's the conversation, and all that stuff is kind of like that's the side dish, right? But you wouldn't be like, if someone was like, hey, do you want to get together and party, but we're not going to eat or drink, you would be like, nah, I don't want to see you. Right? That's not what you would say, right? You would be like, yeah, I want to see you.
Yes,
It's,
that's
it's,
the,
it's
if you're a
actually
mature person and you understand humanity. I mean, to do that, you have to understand another level of respect towards a fellow brother or sister, right? To say what's most important is not the material things, which is dancing to Pat Benatar or eating a shrimp, is really, Erica and Paul are getting together. I'm happy to see you. I want to spend time with you. And the party's over, really, at that point. Everything else is like additional greatness. Yes, no, maybe?
Yeah, I would say if you can't enjoy another person's company without some social lubricant, maybe you don't actually like them that much. Right? Maybe you don't actually really want to spend time with them. Maybe you'd be,
But I like what you said because it made me think more about, me and I go out a lot because I do a lot of interviews. I was at Hugo Boss last night, or no, 2 nights ago. I was at West Side Comedy last night. I'm on the Upper West Side. I'm a New Yorker. Okay, so, and I can do all these things because I have this little microphone that says good news. And people are happy in the Cancer Society or raise money for this thing and that thing. So I'm in joy, I'm in bliss. All right, and so, but is it the bliss of well, there's a lot of things. But I do like the food when it gets there too.
Yeah, I mean, of course, who doesn't like the food? But I don't think it's the food. It's not the food. Otherwise, you just sit home alone and eat all day, which maybe you also do. But then I would say, then you should find out why you're eating. You know, you
Right.
say, I eat when I'm happy, I eat when I'm sad. And I think I'm not the kind of person who says don't emotional eat. I mean, food is comfort, you know, like maybe you're sick and you want some matzo ball soup, and it feeds a part of you. It does feed a part of you that's for nostalgia and safety and comfort and like uh being with your people, you know? So I'm not the person who says don't eat for emotional reasons, but if that's 95% of the reason why you eat, then maybe you should examine that, right? And I think a lot of times people only eat to soothe their emotions
Yeah.
or to stoke their emotions, like that's a kind of dysregulation. And it's like trying to cut down a tree with a hammer. You know, just you're going, it's not going to work. Al final, you're going to be left with a tree with a dent in it. And why don't you find out what actually will work on those emotions, right? Because, and this is where we become very dysregulated. It's like, if you're sad, what would actually touch that part of you? What would actually, on its own terms, touch that part of you and soothe it or make it feel seen, validated, heard, understood? And I'm sorry, but food doesn't do that. You know what does it is other human connection, right? And so then we work into this conundrum of I'm sad, but I won't be validated by these people, that people, the other people, and or my sadness is too big and it's unsightly, or you know, then we work into that. Now we're getting into real issues. But these are questions that now they're real questions and real concerns that then you can actually solve the problem on its own term. And
All
and
right.
I'm interested in efficacy. You know, people waste so much time, and and investing time and effort in ways that don't work, right? And if the truth of the matter is like I've been sad my whole life, and my mom told me to stop crying because boys don't cry, and my dad told me stop crying because boys don't cry, it's like, okay, like that's a real deep thing that has a possibility of being healed when you actually talk about that real thing. Why is it, why can't you have emotions? Like that's, to me, that's like saying the sky isn't blue. It's like, oh no, the sky isn't blue, I'm not sad. It's like, don't do that. That breeds delusion everywhere, everywhere.
You have a lot of wisdom inside of you. Show me
Thank
your
you,
book.
fellow yogi minister.
Show me your book again, if you don't mind.
Here's my book.
Your body, your best friend. All righty. And so,
And the confidence, and I'm pointing to "and" because often when I say it sounds like and the confidence crushing pursuit of unrealistic beauty standards, and embrace your true power. And what might be your true power, you might ask? Well, your true power, I think, emerges when we stop being delusional with ourselves, which is kind of what I was talking about. And we build these little delusions everywhere. I mean, it's human nature. So I just want to say, like, it's not your fault. That's what humans do. That's
yeah.
what humans do. Don't beat yourself up. Human beings are great at delusion. I'm great at delusion. You're great at delusion. We handshake around delusions. So anyway.
It's all good. All right, let me ask you one last question. And
Yes, sir.
because we're involved with the International Day of Peace. And as
Oh,
we started off with yoga and a prayer. And so we do in Times Square and Central Park, things like that. And so I asked a lot of people, what does peace mean to them? So what is peace for you, Erica?
peace is when everybody's free. Freedom. Peace is when everybody is free.
Erica, okay. What's your website?
www.ericamather.com. ERICAMATHER, no S, ericamather.com.
And your book can be purchased there as well on your website?
It won't be purchased. It'll redirect you. It'll redirect you to Barnes and Noble's, Amazon, bookshop. But it would be helpful to me. Anybody listening, if you went into your local bookstore and asked them to order it for you.
Yay, you're the true thing. Okay, we like that. Appreciate the opportunity to speak with you. Thank you.
It is so much my pleasure. Thank you. And thanks to all of your listeners for listening to us today.
There we go. Thanks, Erica.